Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk a little bit about color correction because that's a term that's used a lot in the industry. And I get the feeling that sometimes it may be overused or maybe not used enough. So what does the word color correction mean? Well, in the short term, it basically means that we are changing the artificial color of your hair. If you've artificially colored your hair, whether that's going lighter or darker, and now you want to go the other direction from lighter to darker or darker to lighter, that's called a color correction. A color correction is going to require more than one step in most cases. Us professional stylists in the back room joke around that every color person that sits in our chair is a color correction. And that's because everyone likes to change their hair up a lot. And every time you change what you've been doing, there's some color correction involved. Sometimes color correction can mean fixing a bad dye job, whether that be at home or by a professional, or it can mean evening out uneven color or maybe blotchiness. So there is true color correction above and beyond what I've just talked about, but color correction covers a big and wide area. So just the basics. Color correction is used to fix a bad dye job. Like I said, whether you did it yourself or whether you just had an inexperienced stylist. It's also used to go darker when you've been lightened artificially, or go lighter when you've been darkened artificially. It's also used to remove the effects from maybe chlorine. Maybe you swim a lot and your color's been altered by that. Or minerals in your water have altered the color of your hair and you need it corrected. It can even be from just excessive fading from the sun. Now, who should you see for a color correction? Well, a professional, of course. Don't try to do this at home. I don't even color my own hair at home, and I've been doing hair for a while. Preferably, you want, if you need a true color correction, like there's an issue and you're making a big change or you're fixing a big problem, you want to go to a stylist that's been doing it a little while. It is no joke when those of us in the industry say they learn nothing in hair school. Hair school is there to teach us safety and sanitation. All the really good hairstylists have learned their way through trial and error. And of course, advanced education, which we all do. But the teachers that are teaching that learned through trial and error. So we're just learning the shortcuts through them that have already been there, paving the path, as you might say. You're welcome to go to a newer stylist, but just know that if they don't have a couple years under their belt, they might not know the tricks of the trade. It could go awry. You'll save a lot of money, but you're rolling the dice. But on the other hand, I always encourage people to go to newer stylists if they want to, or maybe if they can, maybe it's not a huge problem that they're fixing, because those girls or guys aren't going to learn unless they get their hands in the hair and do it. So always support your younger stylists as well. But if you really got a problem and you really need it fixed right the first time, go to someone that's got experience. And don't assume just because the stylist you're going to has been in the business a while, will know what to do. Because I have found, especially over the last decade, the stylists are starting to specialize more and more. We have blonding specialists. We have, vivid specialists. We have all these people that kind of focus and specialists on certain things. And the world of color correction should be almost a specialty in itself, I think, sometimes. So make sure your stylist is comfortable with what they're going to be doing, because just because they've been doing hair a long time does not mean they know the best way to attack your problem. It's very important, if you've got a problem that needs fixing, that you have an in-person consultation. I know nowadays everybody wants to do their consultation over photos on the phone and, that kind of stuff. And yeah, it's easier for everybody. Honestly, it's easier for me if we can do it that way. But if you've got a huge problem we need to fix, I want to see you in my chair. I want to touch your hair. I want to see your hair, maybe even do a test on it. Because a big problem means you have to take big time and you don't want to waste a lot of time doing the wrong thing. So if you want it done and you want it done right the first time, take the time to have an in-person consultation with the stylist you plan to use. Now, a color correction, and this could be as simple as going from darker to lighter and lighter to darker, is going to take a little bit longer than the average appointment. And I know people get so flustered. It's very anxiety inducing for me when I have someone in my chair that I feel like is in a hurry to get out of there. If I have to rush or cut corners because I'm feeling rushed and I feel like you don't want to be there and you're constantly looking at your watch or fidgeting or complaining you're hungry, I'm not going to do my best work. This is science. So don't come there thinking you're going to have a major change and be in and out in an hour and a half like you do when you go in for maybe just a quick root touch up. Okay. Keep that in mind. It's going to take longer because usually color corrections take more than one step. It's going to take longer because usually the stylist has to overthink everything and bust through their anxiety on what they're doing. They do not want to ruin your hair. They want it to be what you want. So they really need to think through it. Every hair is different. So there's no go-to like, oh, I did this last time, it'll work this time. That's not always the case. Every head is different. So that's why that personal consultation is important. That's why giving that stylist the time and room to work is important. Having that personal consultation before, whether it be same day, usually that's not the case if you really want a thorough consultation, prior to the appointment. Remember I mentioned the overthinking thing? This gives that stylist maybe a day or two to think through the steps they're going to take to get you in and out of there as quickly as possible, as safely as possible, and with the desired outlook without having to do some trial and error in the chair. That's how I work. My brain goes 99.9% of the time in every direction. So if I have someone sit in the chair and they've got a major issue, I'm immediately jumping through it as fast as I can, but I might miss steps, or I might, a lot of times I'll do something, I think, oh, I should have done that. I love it when someone comes in, they've got a major problem we need to fix or a major change, and I have a day or two to think about it. Because that way, by the time they get there, I've got all the products I need, because I don't always keep all that stuff on hand. It's expensive. I've got the time I need because I've told them it's going to take yang young long. I know that they know the price, so we're going to get paid. And I've already written down everything I'm going to do, how long it's going to take, what my expectations are, so that there's no surprises on either side. Many times, the reason it takes longer is just preparing the hair for the color correction takes time. If you have to use a color remover or a dissolver or maybe some kind of treatment to clarify the hair, anything like that, sometimes you're an hour or two in before you actually even really start doing anything with the color. So keep that in mind and expect it to cost more. This isn't your average go in, dump some color on your hair, rinse it out, and send you home. Time is money, and color corrections take time. Color corrections take products that we don't always keep on hand, and they can be expensive. And color corrections take experience that person has put years into, and so they're worth the extra money to make sure it gets done right the first time. So that's it. That's color correction in a nutshell. Basically, I tell people if it's going to take me more than one process to get you out the door, I call it a color correction. But then that's that overall term we were talking about. A true color correction is really fixing a problem, and you need to go to somebody that, if they don't specialize in that, at least have looked at your hair ahead of time and are comfortable with the process. And I think it says a lot about a stylist if they're willing to say, no, that's not really something I want to do, but then they'll give you a referral to someone that can handle it. Don't just assume, that they're going to be able to do it. Maybe look at some of their work. People are great at taking pictures of all their work now. Well, except me. I'm horrible. But if you can see some of their work where they took someone from something crazy to something beautiful, and they can tell you, how long it took them, what it cost them, that kind of thing, and they know the answers, that's a good route. I only say this because I know there's a lot of young, cocky stylists out there. God bless them, because that was me. A lot of young, cocky stylists out there that just want to jump in. They just want to take on anything they can get. And you don't want to pay the price with your hair on someone who's learning on you. Now, if they're young and they're new and they say, well, I've never actually done this, but I think I have an idea and I have a friend that's older and she's going to mentor me, that kind of stuff, give them a chance. Why not? But anyway, that's my 2 cents. Have a great day. And we'll see you next time.